I know that everything depends on us, on Ukrainian armed forces, yet so much depends on the world. So much in the world depends on you. To the US Congress, to members of the House of Representatives and senators whose decisions can save millions of people. So let these decisions be taken. We stand, we fight, and we will win because we are united, Ukraine, America, and the entire free world.
President Zelensky enjoyed a hero's welcome when he visited Capitol Hill last year. But in a visit to Washington today, he failed to move Republicans any closer to approving military aid for Ukraine. That funding is still being tied up in the fight over the southern border. And right now, there is no sign of figuring things out before Congress breaks for the holidays. Our own Gabe Gutierrez has more.
Tonight, with the war raging and a brutal winter fast approaching, Ukrainian President Zelensky is making an urgent plea to Congress and President Biden.
In Ukraine, we are fighting for our country and freedom.
The U.S. has already sent $111 billion in military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine since Russia's invasion began. But that money's running out. The Biden administration has been urging Congress to approve a new $106 billion package that includes roughly $60 billion for Ukraine, as well as support for Israel and money to strengthen the U.S.-Mexico border.
Putin is banking on the United States failing to deliver for Ukraine. We must prove him wrong.
We need an explanation on this one. So let's welcome Admiral James Stavridis. He's a 30-year Navy veteran who retired with 4 stars on his shoulders. He is also the former head of the U.S. Southern Command and former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. I am really glad you're here, because how is it that 1 year ago, I Stand With Ukraine was ringing through the halls of Congress, and now President Zelensky is greeted with gridlock? What the hell happened in a year?
Yeah, I think 3 things, Steph. Number one, famous American lack of patience. We like our wars very short. Think Persian Gulf. We hate long wars. Forever
fair.
wars.
That is fair.
It's totally
okay.
fair. We hated Vietnam. We dislike being embroiled a lengthy time, and this one is starting to look like a kind of a slow burn. Number 2, frankly, and you got to call it, the lack of success on the offensive this summer. It really stalled out. And the Ukrainians ended up essentially gridlocked, and that contributed to the frustration. Third and finally, you don't need to be an expert political scientist to understand the gridlock in our own politics in Washington. And as we get closer, ding, 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 to an election year, you're going to see that tendency to pull apart on issues become more difficult. Much different place than a year ago for Zelensky.
So what happens if he walks away empty-handed?
There's probably 2 months worth of armaments and money in the pipeline from the U.S. and about 2 months, maybe 3 months from our European friends. By the way, the Europeans actually have spent more on Ukraine than the United States. So there's still pipeline to go, Stephanie, but I'll tell you, by January, February, it's going to be bottom of the barrel, and it's going to be skating on pretty thin ice at that point.
People don't realize that fact that you just made, that point, that our NATO allies, Europe, has been a huge support for Ukraine. Donald Trump very successfully tried to convince America NATO allies give nothing, the U.S. gives everything. But is it fair that Americans could could be looking at Washington and saying, man, why is it that without us, Ukraine will fail? Why do we have to pay for everything? How do you convince the American people that's not actually how it works?
Well, you start with the facts, and the facts are stubborn things. And if you simply go on and Google how much do Europeans spend on Ukraine, you'll find they've spent, again, more than the U.S. Their spending tends to be more humanitarian, refugee support. You know, there are millions of Ukrainians who are refugees in Poland and the other nations surrounding Ukraine. But armaments, they are standing toe-to-toe with us and simply describing that and talking about those facts. Number two, get the Europeans out there talking about it. You're the journalist. They need to get out to their podiums and make those points. And number three, frankly, Zelensky could help us here. He could be talking more about this coalition that is standing behind him. And, you know, if you run the numbers of GDP of nations that are behind Ukraine, U.S. and Europe, about 55% of the world's GDP. Throw in Japan, South Korea, Australia. You're pushing 60, 62% of the world's GDP, lined up pretty squarely behind Ukraine. What's Russia's GDP? 8%.
What does Russia, specifically Vladimir Putin, what's he thinking right now?
He's feeling pretty good. He's had a good year.
Unfortunate.
It's terrible. What's happened is the Ukrainian offensive has kind of stalled. Remember in the summer, he put down the rebellion of this character, his former chef Prigozhin, who was sending tanks toward Moscow.
The mini coup.
And he's gone successfully to North Korea. He's seen, you know, his kind of new best friend forever, Kim Jong-un, who is now giving him weapons. He's gone to Tehran. He's receiving weapons from Tehran. He's got a little bit of a tailwind, and he's looking at this election. And he would love to see Donald Trump come back because he feels he has a strong personal relationship with the former president. So, unfortunately, in the Kremlin, he's feeling pretty good.
Last question to you. For those who say, well, when we give all this money to Ukraine, we don't know where it goes. We don't know how they spend it. We don't know if they spend it in good places. We don't know if they're honest. So much of that money goes to U.S. defense companies. Can you explain this to our audience?
I sure can, and I'm glad you raised that. The number is 90% of all those dollars come right back. 90%. You can read, again, facts, stubborn things. Those dollars go to the Ukrainians, who then purchase weapons from largely the United States. Why? Because ours are the best. And so 90% of those dollars are part of this virtuous circle that is enriching the U.S. economy. It's a powerful point that is not well understood. Thanks for raising it. There's the business mind at work.
Those stubborn facts. Well, unfortunately, the truth matters, but only if you hear it. Yeah. And so we are so lucky that you are here tonight sharing it with our audience. Admiral James Stavridis, thank you again.